Hey, I'm Lex.
And I'm Gibby. Welcome to another episode of Porch Swing People.
Each week, we bring a guest onto the porch swing to chat about whatever they want to talk about. We have a wide variety of questions that guests get to select a few from, and then we just talk about those things.
It's their story.
All of our episodes are published on Spotify and YouTube, and we also wanted to remind our listeners that you can find more content on our Instagram and Facebook pages, where we post photos from our guests, song selections, polls, book recommendations, things like that.
Hey, find us, follow us, and subscribe. It's fun. Okay.
Today we have a fellow named Josh. He is a family member of ours. He has got some great questions. I think a lot of things that bring people together, talk about community based on his questions, places he plans to visit, things that he feels connected to in the world around him.
Excellent. It's been a long time since I've gotten this to chat with Josh, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. Should we do it?
Let's bring Josh on.
Copy that.
Copy that.
Hello.
Good morning,
Hello?
Josh.
Good morning.
Josh, have you ever been on a podcast before?
No,
Why not?
I don't know. I guess if I'm diving right into just broader thoughts, as someone who does communications and marketing and things for a living, takes photographs, things like that, I tend to be behind the scenes as opposed to on the scenes. I've been in podcast studios helping people record, but I've never been the subject of one or on one. So it's kind of a different look. It's always different when you're in the photo. It's always different when you're on the podcast.
Awesome. Hey, Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I always start my story. It was Wednesday, April 22nd, when I was born in Iowa City, Iowa, right next to the University of Iowa Hospital. That's about as Iowan as you can get.
Yep.
But since then, I've moved along Colorado, San Diego, California, Jacksonville, Florida, back now in Long Beach, California. So I've always just been this person who's moving along. And I've always had a lot of wide-ranging interests. That's why I joined the Navy, did 5 years there, was working in mechanical stuff, was doing all sorts of hands-on things. And then after that, decided to go into a career in journalism and writing and communications. So it's a wide-ranging array of interests that I have. I like being creative. I like trying new things. I like traveling. And so I guess just one of my favorite quotes someone said about me was, "Oh, Josh, he's just kind of eccentric." And I think that sums me up pretty well.
Hey, how did you enjoy your time in the Navy?
It was hard. It was long. I felt like it was worth it. I think in the end, I grew a lot from it. But I think as a young man, I was not very keen on the world. I was not very sharpened. I had one uncle who would occasionally pull me up by my ears and stuff and try to toughen me up a little bit, but not very many people would do that stuff. So it was a great opportunity to kind of sharpen my stone a bit.
Did you get to travel? Did you do ship time?
Did. Mm-hmm. So I was on a ship. My first ship was a frigate out of Jacksonville, Florida. And so we went from, Florida across the Atlantic through the Mediterranean. I did that twice. So 14 months I spent across the Atlantic, Mediterranean, and Africa.
That was real Navy stuff.
Yeah, very, very ship, very old school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sea legs, all the stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Well, what's interesting is when you're talking about your transition to journalism and communication and focusing more on writing, I feel like that is written mechanics. So if you think about it in a way, you're kind of mechanical in nature, even with that creative art component, just in a different mode, I guess.
I think that's very true. I think the word I use is craftsmanship. Journalism is very much a craft as opposed to an art. Mm-hmm. You're plugging things in a very formulaic way, which is similar to doing mechanics, doing air conditioning and refrigeration stuff. It's processes. It's following the same steps over and over, but plugging in new inputs.
That's
And
a great
so,
point.
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, yeah, I think that's a great observation that those do have a through line. And I think a lot of art in general is more about craft than it is about the creative part.
I think that too. I have been saying forever, like the the bridge between art and math is so close. It's like they're almost the
Mhm.
same thing to me. But some people see art or math very differently and they don't see them as being so symbiotic.
I think for me the analogy is like if you look at a blank page, what could that be? But if you look at something and you color in between the lines of what's already drawn there, you're going to create something new and something interesting. It's within the rules that you find kind of the new solutions.
Wow, that's really deep.
Oh, sorry.
No. She's laughing at the blank face in my,
No,
my
I'm
eyes there.
no, I'm laughing about how deep that is because can we roll into our first question? It's probably
Yeah.
just as deep as what you were just talking about. So,
I'll try.
without further ado, can you remember? Can you remember a snow day from your childhood and how you spent that day?
Okay, so I might this might be cheating. It's my last snow day, so I was technically 17.
That's not cheating. That's still youth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Colorado, we always had this weird thing where there would be a snow in April or something,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
where you would know that there's going to be like one last snow day for the semester, for the year. And they would always
Yeah.
have to bank them and plan it out because there was always one April snow. I remember the first year I moved to Colorado when I was 9, my spring break, we were snowed in the house. Other elementary schools got a week off and then their spring break, but because mine happened on my spring break, I didn't get any snow days from it.
Oh,
But it was like
That's
it was like 3-4 feet, so we were genuinely stuck for a little while.
wow.
But so this last snow day, it was April. It was 2010. It was the year I was graduating, and we got the forecast that this was coming. And so me and all my friends, we decided like, what are we gonna do? We know this is gonna be a snow day. We have to do all the greatest hits. So we did everything. We went to the biggest hills we could find and went sledding. We built a snowman at another friend's house. We went over to a park near my place and we did a big snowball fight with like a huge slingshot. We just,
Wow.
we were able to cover everything because we knew, this was going to be it. We got to
Last
make the
one.
most of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, this is the last one. You don't get these as an adult. So we were like, let's go all out. And we managed to do just everything we could.
That is the perfect snow day and the perfect story to share. So poetic. All right, well, tell us about this particular snowman. What did you use for props?
We used the basics, a couple sticks, a carrot.
Nice.
We didn't have coal, but
You do the scarf?
we did have a scarf, but it was just for the picture. It was a friend's scarf, so we just
You're not gonna leave
the
that.
same
on,
with
yeah.
the hat. But we were able to do just all the basic stuff, decorations, and get a good photo of it. And then we threw someone into it to kind of knock it over.
Right on.
That is so funny. You know what's funny about that is my kids will build something, and then we'll all feel this immense pride from building it, and then they immediately knock it down and start rebuilding. And I'm like, don't you want to have that up for like 2 or 3 weeks? Like, look at what we've built.
I don't know if that goes away.
Obviously,
I remember not that long ago, I built a Lego of an X-wing fighter, and I like spent hours building it. And the first thing I did was like throw it to see if it would fly, but it did not. So,
wow,
All right.
what is that personality trait?
I don't know. I don't know what that's called, but I have it for sure.
Impulsivity, perhaps.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, Josh.
Mhm.
It's game night. anticipation of all the friends and family around the table. What is your game of choice to play for the evening?
So the game I've been hooked on the longest, I think, has been this game called Pandemic. Are you guys familiar?
I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay. So this came out before COVID, so I just want to clarify that, I think, for the record.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a strategy game where it's 4 people versus the board versus the diseases in the game, as opposed to teams versus each other or individuals competing. It's everyone working together to kind of solve these different diseases and get a cure. And that fascinated me the first time I played it. It was the first time I ever tried a game where we weren't competing, we were working together.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of hooked on that concept. And so I always try to break it out whenever I can.
So there's no adversary other than the board.
Right. So you win or lose based on, do you cure all 4 diseases or not?
Ah, very cool.
And there's a bunch of ways you can lose. You run out of cards. You get too many pegs on the board. There's different ways you can lose. So it's still it's very challenging. And every time you play it, there's something different because there's different character rules. So like one specialty, you're able to cure the disease faster. The other one, you're able to move further, different things. So it's always variable. It's always challenging. But I really love that component of you're working together as opposed to competing, even though I'm very competitive and I like winning.
So
But
here's
it's
my
nice-
question.
Yeah.
When you are, so you win together if you win. Do you lose together or do individuals lose and have to like drop out and stuff?
You lose together.
Okay.
You win together, you lose together. And you discuss and like maneuver as a team if you're doing it at like, I guess, the highest level, we'll call it. If you're doing it at the hardest difficulty, you really need to coordinate and think about how different members of the team are working together. You know, if you do it at the easiest difficulty, you can kind of make your own way and figure out the easiest thing for you yourself and maybe get through it and win. But once you get it into more difficulty, you absolutely have to work together. And that's a component I really like is again, you're talking 3 moves ahead. Like, what should we all do?
Does it ever get like really spicy where people are disagreeing on the moves?
Oh, 100%. Me and my spouse, we cannot play too many games in a row because it'll get too spicy.
So it's 2-player up to what?
2 to 4.
2 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer the 2 or is it fun when you have like a group?
It's different, which I like. It's challenging in a different way where the diseases spread out a bit faster when there's more people. So you're overcoming different obstacles, but they're both fun.
And when you're playing with your spouse, you two probably have a very fluid, easy way of communicating with each other versus when you have a bigger group, there's lots of communication dynamics and different voices coming to the table.
Absolutely. That reminds me of the time I played with my best friend he is exactly like me and his spouse is exactly like mine. They're much less dedicated than we are. And so it was just kind of me and him playing and then telling the other 2 what to do. And it probably wasn't a good look if I was a camera on the wall, but we won, so that's all that matters.
Is that all that matters? You still have to all be together in the end as a community.
And we had fun. At the end, we had fun.
So, okay, Josh, can you tell us what your favorite way to exercise or be physically active is?
So maybe not of all time, but my current one is skateboarding. The last few years, I've really been into it. Even after destroying my ACL, I'm still there's something about it that's really, not only is it physical activity, but there's this little component of like getting over, getting over anxiety, I think, is the huge component. If you're going down a hill, the easiest way is through. It's to just do it and like get through the hill and like slow down. as opposed to trying to stop or do something crazy. Or if you panic, you're going to end up doing worse. And so I really like overcoming that.
Like you're overcoming your nervous system kind of thing.
Right.
You've seen those videos where people are going down and all of a sudden they start doing the old.
Is that you sometimes?
Right.
Shaky wheels.
Yeah.
Is it just skateboarding or you skateboard and longboard?
So what I own is called a cruiser, which is a hybrid between a longboard and a regular trick skateboard. So I'm able to do some tricks, some things, but not everything. But I'm also able to go long distances.
Oh, so it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's the hybrid, I guess you would call it.
You said it's your current favorite way to be physically active. Do you like switch which foot you have on the skateboard so you're working your legs evenly?
Not inherently, but sometimes it'll call for that. And also I find that what I'm trying to do most of the time with this board is, I guess, kind of surf skate, which is where you kind of pivot and you work both of your legs to kind of propel yourself as opposed to pedaling.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm doing that, that means I'm kind of where I want to be physically and kind of active.
Now, you said your spouse just got a pair of roller skates.
Yes.
You going to try that out?
No. I'll rollerblade. But I will not roller skate.
Why'd she go with the skates rather than the blades? I mean, I think
the skates are popular, cool. Right? Yeah, it
skates
has a
are
huge
popular.
SoCal comeback.
Yeah, so we have like a roller skate shop not too far from us. We have a roller skate rink not too far from us. It's just kind of the culture, I guess. It's never gone away out here in SoCal. So she's like, finally, I'll try it. And I know I've tried roller skating once and it was terrible. I can rollerblade fine, but you put the four wheels in a different angle and it's very confusing.
I don't get it either. I would much prefer rollerblading, but I feel like that's our 90s roots.
I was going to say, Gibby's over here laughing at us. I can tell.
Because we grew up roller skating and blading is the foreign part to me, but I was not good for
you and your Daisy Dukes went around the rink. I can tell.
You forgot the netted yellow shirt and
yeah.
Gibby, did you know that
I miss those days? By the way,
roller derby is super popular and has been really popular. I think it's come back in the last 10 to 15 years. It's been super popular.
Is that right? I remember those were my favorite times when my grandfather would take us to the roller derby. I mean, how ridiculous!
Where was the roller derby at? How far away?
I think they were down south.
Yeah, that's so fun. I mean, they have them out here. We have Team 2 practice. They're fun. I haven't been doing like an official game, but I see them practicing, and they're intense ladies.
Yeah, hardcore. Josh, when you grew up, do you remember going to the roller skating rink to go rollerblading? Did you do that as a kid?
100%.
Can you think of this very niche question? Can you think of one or two songs that they would always play at the rink at the time?
Oh,
Dancing Queen.
No, our time. There's one in particular, and then there's a backup every time I was there.
They're not coming to me. I'm having a bit of a mental block because when I think of my roller rink back in Colorado, what I think of is they used to sell for 50 cents it was a Dixie cup filled with pickle juice that was frozen.
Frozen?
And it was like a pickle juice popsicle kind of thing. And I've never seen that anywhere else.
They just wanted to do something with their leftover pickle juice.
And it worked. Kids would buy them all the time. So
that's going to make a comeback now.
I can't. And so every time I'm thinking of US on Wheels in Arvada, Colorado, I'm just thinking of this pickle juice.
That makes sense. If the songs come back to you throughout our interview, you can be like, "Oh, I know what you're talking about."
Did you have a song in mind?
I was going to say
two songs.
Well, let's hear them.
Let's hear.
Well, the first one is All Star, Smash Mouth. Always on. Second one.
Still always. Yeah.
Is it still always on? Second one, Blue Dabadi. Was that Eiffel? What is that band name?
65.
Do you know?
Eiffel 65.
Wasn't that not on all the time?
Barbie Girl was the one I thought of.
That's a good one.
Hey, what is a piece of art, a book, a song, a painting that you feel deeply connected with?
Besides Barbie Girl.
I have a whole Barbie Girl story I'll do as an aside real quick.
Okay.
So my 6th birthday party was at Gibby, you might remember the name, but I don't know if you will. It wasn't Chuck E. Cheese, but it was like a Chuck E. Cheese ripoff where we used to live in Illinois. It was like a cheetah instead of a mouse or something like that.
Yep.
And I invited my whole kindergarten class because I had a crush on this one girl, Sam, and I couldn't invite just her and the guys. So I invited the whole class. And then all the girls spent my entire party playing Barbie Girl on repeat.
What, like on the jukebox or something?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So 20 times in a row. Just boom, 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 boom.
Just out of curiosity, did you make that special connection with Sam?
We played the spider stomping game, for sure.
That's so special.
Highlight of the party.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's so
what
good.
I'm talking about? Where there's like, it's like splat, and then like it lights up, and then you press your foot on it, and then it kills the spider, and then there's another one that lights up. Do you guys remember that game?
Well, it sounds like whack-a-mole, but with your feet.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we played that, so that was, I'll count it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a special connection. Shout out to Sam out there.
Yeah. But
30 years ago almost, whatever, however, I don't do math.
Something close to that.
But back to the question, because you obviously had a different answer.
Initially. I do have I think maybe an odd answer. But so I have this memory from when I was in elementary school of this children's book that we read in class. There's children in like Central Park Zoo, and they're looking at this exhibit of aliens, in the zoo. And then the pages flips, and they're in Cairo. There's a pyramid in the background, and it's the same zoo exhibit, but different children. And you flip the page, and there's a few Eiffel Tower, a few examples of this. And then at the end of the book, it's revealed that the aliens were in an interplanetary exhibit themselves and were just there to visit the Earth peoples and get a sample of them. And I remember reading this book in my maybe 2nd grade class, 1st grade or something, and it always stuck with me. But every time I tell people about the book or this idea, they're like, you just made that up. That's not real. That's not a thing. So I thought it was one of those implanted memories. But I've been spending maybe since I was 16 looking for it. And I finally found the actual short story it was based on when I was 30.
Right on.
Wow.
The name?
The name is Zoo by Edward Hawke. It's this little short story that pretty much describes the same thing. It doesn't do the part where the zoo exhibit is in different parts of the world, but it's basically the same plot. And so I'm wondering is that a real memory? Is that, did I read the short story and come up with the book?
You filled in the blanks? Yeah.
Or was the book like some teacher's friend who made this little art project, kind of thing, niche thing, or whatever. But this story has always had a profound effect on me because I've always just been fascinated with the idea of like perception and reality and kind of thinking about your experience versus someone else's. So I've always carried that with me without knowing it was a real piece of art. And then to find out it was real was very exciting. It was just...
And validating.
It cemented its importance, I think, in a lot of ways.
That is so fascinating, that entire story.
Yeah. Hey, like you said, validating that you weren't just making something up. And then what I do find interesting is it is something that kind of must have been itching at you for a couple decades because you're like, I'm looking for this book. I'm going to figure this out.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember multiple times in my life going on like Amazon and Googling it and like really trying to deep research it. But also it was not easy to find.
Yeah.
It's hard. There's not
It's
a
like
lot
a
of like
random
keywords.
description. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, have you heard that scientists have said that I think it's elephants that they look at humans as if we're their pets, and so they look at us like, oh, they're so cute.
The same chemicals get released as when we look at puppies.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? That kind of going back to your discussion about perception. Tell us a little bit more about how this has impacted your thoughts on perception as time has gone on.
I think, it was something I encountered at a young age, and I'm trying to remember the first time I remembered it. But I can't. I think it's always just been around me since this book kind of, a kind of a glass shattering kind of moment where it's like, oh, what you're seeing, what I'm seeing isn't the whole picture.
Kind of like a meta moment, like, whoa.
Right. The first concept of like a meta idea. And, since then I've gotten my minor in college was in philosophy. I enjoy thinking about meta processes and meta thoughts and zooming out. And so it's just, I guess you could even say it really was my first window into that whole concept of zooming out. And so I guess I've just been fascinated by that since then.
Yeah, you've always been a philosopher way before your minor.
Right. I mean, always, part of just growing up the way I did, where I'm kind of by myself a lot, I always felt very Truman Show anyways. That was another piece of art that echoed with me very much. And so I guess it just lived in me that I was always going to zoom out in that way. And so finding pieces of art like, this short story just drew it out of me and like clarified.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Okay, so do you remember like a few years ago, this whole concept of the Roman Empire came out where apparently men think about the Roman Empire on a weekly basis, but women don't. And the men were like, wait, women don't think about this all the time? And the women were like, wait, you think about this all the time? And then it started to be like women were having conversations like, well, what's your Roman Empire? Like, what's on your mind all the time? So my first question is, do you think about the Roman Empire? And second of all, is this kind of your Roman Empire type of thing that's kind of like in your brain all the time?
So do I think about the Roman Empire? Probably quite a bit, actually.
Fascinating.
And Gibby, what about you?
I do.
So weird.
My favorite thing about the Roman Empire is at its peak. It would take 3 weeks to get across the Roman Empire, like, by horse or whatever, that technology they had back in the day. There's nowhere on Earth that takes 3 weeks to get to anymore.
Yeah.
So the space and time kind of difference we have between us and them is so fascinating.
That is fascinating.
And then I guess that answers your other question about kind of meta stuff being my Roman Empire. It must be, because I'm always thinking about space and time and perception and these things. The Truman Show, I think, is more my Roman Empire than anything. I saw that at a young age, and I guess that should be a better answer for a piece of art.
No,
but
you can have two.
They're very similar. Just the idea that the allegory of the cave, you could be thinking in one bubble and be inside another. It's just very fascinating and always grounding me in a way that I just kind of reference in my everyday, like, is this what it appears to be to me, or is this something else,
Oh, that's fascinating. And that would be such a great podcast theme if you wanted to start a podcast and you just bring people on to talk about their own thoughts about space and time and perception. What do you think, Ivy?
I like it.
The problem is The problem is I'm just not a scientist like some of the people who already have good podcasts about that stuff.
But that's the best part, is that it's just regular people talking about what they think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Josh, I know that you want to know what I think is amazing about the Roman Empire, and they,
Yes.
they, from what I understand, is they conquered the problem of sewage and waste. Let's keep going.
Mhm.
But you guys didn't ask me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lex.
Is your answer concrete, Roman concrete? Because that's also a good one.
My answer is I literally never think about the Roman Empire ever.
Those Colosseums are way ahead of their time.
Come on now.
Okay.
You should feel embarrassed, not us.
I'm not saying you should feel embarrassed. And I also don't feel embarrassed. We all
Good.
have our own perceptions of space and time, right? So,
And the Roman Empire is an important part of that.
for some people. Josh, what is a place
Yes.
that you dream of visiting?
Since I was 19, I've always wanted to go to the Azores, which are islands off the coast of Portugal. So the reason being, both of my deployments that I went on in the Navy, we would stop there for fuel. We would be there for 6 hours, and we weren't allowed off the ship. And I would go out to the top side, which I rarely got to do. And I was always working down below decks. So sun was always a cigarette break at best.
Mhm.
And I would go outside, and it's the most beautiful island I've ever seen. And it's this amazing place, and I couldn't go there. I couldn't even go to dinner out there. And so just the idea of going and actually experiencing this part of the world that I've smelled but not tasted is just too enticing to pass up.
That is a great answer.
Yeah.
So, when are you going? Do you have any like concrete plans about when you want to go?
No, I don't. I think it's always been, if I romanticize it, it's like the final trip I want to take if I ever, get to old age or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It feels like a conclusion. So
That kind of wraps everything together. Yeah.
Well, how about this one? Share us a time you had a meaningful connection with nature or an animal.
all right, this is another one I want to pick two,
Nice.
if that's okay.
Of course, it's your story.
So the first one, I'm not a big woo-woo spirit animal kind of person, but whenever I take those quizzes online or, whatever, someone's like, see what it is, come on. It's always a fox.
Always.
Always.
Nice.
And so it's like, you're a shapeshifter, you blend into your surroundings and blah, blah, blah. Well, when I was in high school, I lived in the basement of our house, and 3 baby foxes, they fell into our window well. And my mom, while growing up in the Midwest, had no clue what to do with animals.
Mhm.
So we called animal control, and we're like, what do we do? And they're like, well, you can't touch them with your skin, but you need to, like, if they stay there, they'll die.
Like, you
So
need to
this-
scoop them out. Yeah.
So I put on like snow gloves and all this equipment and stuff, and I scooped them out, and their mom was there right on the edge the whole
Right on.
time.
Watching.
And it was really interesting because there was only like a moment of fear from them. They were like, what is this? And then there was another moment of just them being like, oh, something is here helping us.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool to experience, like a kind of trust. It's the first time I guess I'll say it's the first time another species trusted me in a way that I noticed.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
That is very cool. So Mama took him right in.
Yeah. So
Nice.
right after that, yeah, she took them right back. They all ran off fine. It really does challenge, I guess one of the reasons it sticks with me is it does challenge my spiritual perceptions, where I'm like very skeptical normally. And then that one was like, oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Like, there's something here. So the other one I wanted to tell for an animal, you know, not having been raised in Iowa, but being around, my grandparents' farm and stuff, you see a lot of deer, but usually from a distance, and that's kind of, they're just there, and that's kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I, in 2019, I sold my truck. I had this truck that I loved. And I decided before I sold it, I was going to take it on this 4-day camping trip through Colorado where I was at. And I got into this very remote part of the mountains, and it was the summertime. And I was sleeping in the bed of the truck. And I woke up and I looked out, and there was a herd of maybe 10, 15 deer just grazing all around me. And I was like, well, I can't move. I just want to really enjoy this. And like seeing them just that close to me was so cool. Felt like something that I had seen from a distance, but being up close to it, just like familiar in a way that was really cool. And seeing them was really beautiful and very peaceful in a way you don't get to experience a lot, especially without 4-wheel drive anymore.
That's another great story. You know what I love about like a herd of deer? There's like not a lot of communication besides just reading each other's nonverbal communication of when to move. I feel the same way when I see ducks or geese flying, and I'm like, you got who's making these decisions? Because you guys all just look like you're deciding this all together. It's amazing.
Or just how a herd changes directions, like you're saying.
I'm picturing the geese or the ducks as they're flying in a V, and somebody's in the back's like, where's this taking us? I equate that to, in my when I was in the military, we'd have lead divers, and the other guys are passengers, and I know they're going, where's
So
this
you feel
idiot?
like you identify with these geese?
Oh, I could identify with that, because when you get out of the water, they're like, what the? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you're ever in Denver, I highly recommend for anyone. There's a place called the Arsenal Range. It's just north of downtown, and you can go drive through, and there's a herd of buffalo that live there. And you can just go see this pack of buffalo live at any time of year, and it's gorgeous. And you can drive up, and they're right next to the road. It's like being on a safari, but in Denver. So
I'm not desensitized to it because I am always in awe, but just out in front of the RV, we have the same where there's a buffalo ranch. Yeah, it's very cool.
They're amazing. They're the coolest.
Yeah.
And you need to keep your distance from them and never try to take a selfie around one and really respect them.
Yeah.
Josh, thanks so much for your time today. This has been so fun. I love the questions, the philosophical answers, super deep stuff to cover this morning.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun talking to you guys.
And it was easy, right? It's just a conversation. So.
Right. Yeah. And I think you guys make it easy. Nice. I do.
Once again, this is the feedback we're looking for, only positive. So, Josh, we will touch base with you in a few weeks. We're looking forward to your episode coming out, and we hope you have a great day.
Sounds good to you guys, too.
Enjoy your day, Josh. Thank you very much.
Both of you. Of course, great talking to you guys.
Bye.
Later.
Anytime.
It's been a long time since I've got to chat with Josh, but I was really, really impressed and happy with our conversation. It was just like we had hung out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool, the connection with the animal or nature. I thought that his question about the physical, activities that he likes to do, and maybe I don't know, maybe he said that he skateboarded when he was younger, but I have people that I work with that still go up and snowboard. I would not be able to do that. I mean, one big crunch. And a couple of the guys, every Monday they come in because it's ski season out here in Utah.
Ski season. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, ski season. Well, in this case, snowboarding, and they're always limping, and I'm like, dude. They're like, it was worth it. It was worth it. I'm sure Josh thinks the same thing as, yeah, you know what? I take a.
Yeah, but do you notice how Josh adjusted from his recent injury to now include knee pads, wrist pads,
Yeah.
and of course his helmet when he deems it necessary? I'm shaking my
As
head.
Lex shakes her head.
I love how much of his time in the Navy came up.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, what do you say, 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, it would have to be tremendously impactful because, and he did say that was his growing up time.
Yeah, he said, I think I mentioned this in my episode, like things are good for the time period that they're good. Like that time period was meant to be for him.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought experiment to think like, what if those 5 years were now as the person I am now? What would that be like for me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that time and space thing that he brought up again. I just want to say, I loved the snow day answer.
Yeah, very intentional,
So
weren't they?
brilliant. Yeah. And so like bittersweet, like, guys, we got to go big. This is our potentially our last snow day. Yeah. How fun.
They did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people have their last snow day and they don't know about it.
Last one.
When he was saying, you know, the snow days end, you don't have them anymore when you grow up. Then if you have kids, then you get to experience snow days again. So,
yes.
And you get to see it through their eyes, and it's a super special thing. But also, even if you don't have kids, what's stopping you from going outside and making snow angels and building a snowman?
We did it it's been a minute ago, but you guys were adults when I came up to visit for the, what was it? The ice. Yeah, that was great.
Snowpocalypse. Yeah.
But we built snowmen, and that was a great time.
Yeah. So super fun time with Josh. We really appreciate him for coming onto the podcast today. And that concludes another episode of Porch Swing People.
Great time. Porch Swing People, out. Porch Swing People is recorded and produced by Lex and Gibby. Opening music was written and produced by Michael Gibson. Porch Swing People is a podcast featuring everyday people. If interested in being a guest, email us at porchswingpeeps@gmail.com.